So my name is Cate Sevilla, and I am the managing editor at BuzzFeed. And today I just want to talk to you about dreaming practically, and also about success, and how success won't look exactly like you think it will. To give you a bit of background on me, as you can probably tell from my voice, I'm not from here. I'm from California, and I've lived in London for about 9 years. And before I started working at BuzzFeed when I was still in California, I was my district's youngest coffee master and assistant store manager at Starbucks. No need to applaud, thank you. But when I realized with the help of a therapist that I did not want to make coffee for the rest of my life, and actually I wanted to be a writer, I had to figure out how I would do that. And I did that through blogging. I started a blog on MySpace. You guys remember MySpace? Yeah. I had 17 subscribers for my blog on MySpace, and I thought that was a pretty big deal. And then I moved to London, and I joined a blogging community called Vox, which is not the Vox that exists now, it was something different. But I managed to get my first writing gig from my popularity on Vox. And then that led to an actual paying job writing for the UK's, well, now defunct, first blog publishing company. And after I stopped working there, I launched my own website for women. It was like an online magazine, and it was called Bitch Buzz, not to be confused with BuzzFeed. I apparently only work places with buzz in the name. And so when I started doing Bitch Buzz, I did that for about almost 5 years. And I worked on a lot of various projects that eventually led me to BuzzFeed. And when I started my writing career, I thought that success looked like, being a famous columnist for a newspaper. I would get a book deal that would lead to a screenplay that I would probably win an Oscar for, and then maybe a Grammy for my performance on the best-selling soundtrack. Just an idea. Weirdly, that's not happened yet, but that doesn't mean that I'm not successful or that I've not achieved things. It just means that perhaps success doesn't always look like you think it will. Just for example, happiness doesn't always look like you think it will. So if you had said to me 15 years ago that I would eventually meet a British guy on MySpace, and then I would move to London and get married when I was 21, I would have told you you were insane. But that actually happened. So success doesn't look like you think it will. It doesn't look like how your parents say it will. It doesn't look like how your teachers say that it will. And measuring success, defining success, and actually recognizing success is actually a lot more difficult than you might imagine. I can't tell you what success will look like for you or what achieving your dream will look like, but I can give you a little secret into how to do that, and it's called working your ass off. The other key to that, aside from just working your ass off and realizing that success won't look like how you think it will, is being kind to yourself and looking after yourself. Because if you don't look after yourself, if you're just running around all the time and working really hard, and you don't be kind to yourself and take care of yourself, you will just be exhausted, and you will completely lose balance and focus on what actually matters. And if you just have this singular idea of what success looks like, and you're just focused on that perfect goal, achievements and opportunities will just completely pass you by, and you'll completely miss it. So I really like the concept of practical dreaming. It's realistic, and it's about balance. So it's minding your head and your heart, but also your bank account. The thing is that you can't achieve success by just meditating. You can't just go to a yoga class and tell yourself that you love yourself a lot and write some positive affirmations on your mirror with lipstick, for example, and then wake up and have all of your dreams come true. That's a lovely thought, but it's not realistic. There are a lot of people online at the moment who you see all these stories, I'm sure, on Facebook, where they're like, I quit my job, I'm just traveling for a year, and then I'm going to write a healthy living cookbook. And that's not, that's nice, but that's not practical dreaming, unless you've saved for a year and maybe you have a literary agent that's actually interested in your healthy living cookbook. So dream big, but remember that you still need to put a roof over your head and you still need to eat. I didn't go to college. My version of college was running various projects and businesses online and freelancing and learning about things like digital journalism and SEO and social media and running an online publication basically by myself and figuring out how to do that. I had to buy a book the first time that I needed to write a business plan because I didn't even know what that looked like. I had to teach myself about things like editorial calendars, and I read books on marketing and branding, and I basically had to hustle. I basically had to teach myself everything. And thankfully, my husband is kind of a nerd, so he could teach me about things like databases and Photoshop and basic HTML. So I was self-employed, and I was chasing a dream of having my website take off, and then getting that book deal, and then paying our bills with all of my media appearances. As I said, that's not happened. But I was only able to chase this dream, like David said, by having people around you and people supporting you. So my husband, bless him, paid the most of the bills himself. We ate things like, Sainsbury's own baked beans. I couldn't afford the nice tampons. And anytime, you know what that's like, I know. And anytime I needed to go into London for a client meeting, I was like that person looking around for the free tickets on the floor all the time. So I freelanced as much as I could, and I made as much money as I could. And I would work basically for anyone that would pay me, so I ended up doing weird things like a TV advert with Fern Cotton, and if you opened very.co.uk's catalog, and the Littlewoods catalog, at one point in 2012, you probably would have seen my face recommending things like tumble dryers and digital cameras for children. So, yeah, no one saw it. Okay, cool. So I made as much money from the projects that I was working on as I could, but one of the most important things I learned was when to throw in the towel. Being practical, I realized even projects that I had been working on for years weren't functioning as proper businesses. So I had to shut them down. Even a video project that I was working on that I really loved, I had to shut that down too. So basically, I got really good at quitting stuff, which is important. Basically, I knew it wasn't just about money, but if your heart isn't in something and you know that no matter how much time and energy you put into something that it's not going to work, what's the point? And I had to accept that maybe success wasn't what I thought it would look like. And when my adulthood as a freelancer and a dazzling internet personality wasn't paying the bills, I realized I had to get a job. And it took a lot longer than I thought. I thought when I announced on Twitter, hello, I'm now available for work, that people would be like, excellent, we'll hire you. That didn't happen. Apparently having a few thousand Twitter followers and running a business does not equal instant employment. Eventually I did get a job. It paid less than I thought I was worth, of course, that's always the way. And I really started to like it. And then they axed the project that they hired me to work on, so I was then unemployed once again. Thankfully, I heard that this website called BuzzFeed had launched in the UK, and they needed a homepage editor. And thankfully, they hired me. The hours for the job were 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it was looking after the US and the UK's homepage and covering breaking news. So suddenly, my mornings at Starbucks, waking up at 3:30, finally paid off. So after a year of basically working 12-hour shifts, I'm in the role that I'm in now, which is managing editor. And we've grown from 7 people to 60 people in editorial and up to 18 million views a month, which is pretty exciting. And looking back, all the things that I could have perceived as being a failure, so the book deal that didn't work out, the literary agent who hated my book proposal, the publishing company who chose to not invest in my website that I'd worked so hard on, and that job that I was only in for 5 months, those weren't exactly failures. Everything I taught myself, everything I had to learn for myself paid off in the end. It's still a lot of hard work, and my job isn't as cushy as I think a lot of people think it is, but now I can afford the nice tampons, so, So that being said, thank you. I'm not quite done, but thank you for applauding the tampons. It means a lot to me too. So I might not be Caitlin Moran. I still don't have a book deal, and my career doesn't look like how I thought it would, but that's okay. And I wish that I had had someone with a batshit career like me who could be like, just because you didn't go to college and just because it doesn't look exactly like this doesn't mean that you still haven't achieved something. Success doesn't need to just look one way or like one person. So the important thing to recognize is that when success comes, that you can see it, small victories, baby steps, every rejection can be a milestone, and be kind to yourself and work your ass off because it's really important. There are obvious obstacles that some of us have to face, some of us are born into. There are different levels and layers of privilege that more of us have to climb through than others. But as I said, if you work hard and you believe in yourself and you're kind, I can't believe that those kind of people won't succeed. So it is possible. It's just not as glamorous as it looks on Instagram. Thank you.
Would you like to be at our next event? Visit dreamnation.co.uk and join our free mailing list in the top right-hand corner. You will receive exclusive content and free updates on future projects so that you'll never have to miss out again. Work hard and keep dreaming.